Hello, today I'm doing a review on my Jetson hover kicks or moto kicks. I've had these for a long time and they are not something I just got yesterday, but I love them so much I figured I would go ahead and do a review. I think I did a small review another time, but never posted it. So here's my official review. So let's get started. These things are amazing. This is not a biased review, but I will tell you I love my skates. I call them skates, but they're called Jetson MotoKicks. And they're the same concept of a hoverboard, except they are individual. So each one goes on each foot. You can go separately wherever you want to go. And it basically is controlled by you leaning forward or backwards. And as you can see right now, I'm in my house and I have wood floors throughout the whole house, so I can just go all through the house wherever I want. And one of the benefits of this is whenever I get home from work, my wife wants me to take off my boots, and sometimes I'm going right back outside, so I'm like, well, I don't want to take off my boots, I gotta put them right back on. So this is where the skates come in. So I can just get on my skates and I can go all around the house, yada yada yada, whatever I want to do. And then since I gotta go right back outside, I just go right back to the front door and I step off my skates, turn them off, and go back outside. And I'll show you how they work now. This is it. They're just like this. They are amazing. So you charge them. It comes with a charger that has two plugs on it, so you can charge them both at the same time, so they don't have to charge individually. So this is the skate. Basically, it has a power button on the side. You just turn it on like so and make sure it's nice and flat, and immediately it starts to level itself, and then you step on it and you go. You turn it upside down, it's going to beep at you all kind of crazy and say something ain't right. I did just notice that one of my skates changes colors. The light changes colors after you turn it on, like automatically. It just goes from one color. See, it's upside down. It might not do it. Give it a second. Okay, see how it changes from one color to the next color to the next color. My other one doesn't do that, which is strange. So I don't know. It just stays blue. So that's probably something's wrong with it. But literally, I've put these things through hell. You can see here, if we can get a close up here. Let me turn it off so the light ain't killing us. Okay. It is got your warning label here. And then up here you got your shiny sticker. But where is the other label? There's another label on here somewhere. Nope, it's on the other skate. So I was reading the other skate, and it actually tells you the voltages of the batteries and all that good stuff. So if you look at the other skate, right here, see it says Jetson model MotoKicks JMOTO, J-Moto. The input of the battery is 29.4 volts DC, 1.5 amp max. And the battery is a 25.9 volt, 1.9 amp hour. Wow, it's only 1.9 amp hours. Huh. These things are they're really hard to kill. I mean, I can ride them, I don't know. If I'm riding them non-stop, I can ride them for about 2 hours before they start to beep at me and say they're dead. Which is a long time, I feel like. I mean, I use these to go into Walmart or go into Home Depot when I got to do shopping. And I literally get out of my truck, I put these on the ground, I step on them, and I go right in the store. And 9 times out of 10, well, actually every time I've ever went in, all people ever say is, wow, where'd you get those? Wow, I've never seen those before. Or, I mean, even the manager of Home Depot came up to me one time, and he goes, what are those? I'm like, they're Moto Kicks, man. It's 2020. Get with the program, you know? And he goes, every employee should have some of those. He's like, they would be able to get so much more stuff done. He's like, if it wasn't a safety hazard, that would be a great idea. I said, well, that sucks because they're amazing. And he didn't say nothing about, hey, you can't ride those. Hey, you know, you're not allowed to ride those in the store. Because the only thing that people notice is that you're kind of floating by. And everybody you go by will kind of look at you, and then they'll turn away, and then immediately they'll look back like, what the hell? Like, he wasn't walking. And it does nothing. It's like a major conversation starter. So everybody that's fascinated in the store, they always stop me. It's like, man, where'd you get those? Man, where'd you get those? And every time I tell them, I'm like, Walmart. Even when I'm in Walmart, especially, they said, where'd you get those? I said, here. And they're like, what? No, no way. Well, I got to where I go in the back of the store and I check every time I go into Walmart to see if they have any. 9 times out of 10, they're sold out. Very rarely there will be like one box with them in there. But you can barely even tell they're there. They're by the hoverboards and stuff. And they're just with this little small box. And it doesn't look like much, but it's got a guy riding skates on the side of the box. And if I had the box, I'd show you, but I don't. But back to the review. These things can handle up to 220 pounds. The battery lasts a really long time, so it's quite obvious that they have regenerative braking. So every time you stop or slow down, by leaning the other way, it's charging the battery. So every time, which is quite often, like 90% of the time, you're going to be braking, going leaning the opposite way of the way you're going to start going the other way. They're extremely maneuverable. At first, when I first started to ride them, I felt like I needed a strap because my foot wouldn't stay on. And it was just because I wasn't really used to them. Now, if I have a strap on, because I actually made these little Velcro straps that went around the bottom of my skate and they went around my foot, which is probably extremely dangerous. So if, you get into a bind, you can't exactly jump off of them. Because these things, when they're powered on, the motor is extremely powerful. So if you were to go and try and take your foot off and come off halfway, that motor is going to go whang, and it's going to snatch your foot. Might pull you to the ground. But I know I've been barefoot before, and this was powered up, and I go to grab it, and it's pinched my finger into the ground, which hurts real bad, or it's got my toe, which hurts real bad. So they can be dangerous if you're not careful. It clearly says on the warning whenever you first get them, it tells you in the manual, do not turn them on unless they're sitting on a flat surface. And that's probably the reason why, because these things will hurt you. So when I have them powered up and say I step off of them to go do something and then come back to them, my son likes to go and play with them, and I always have to get onto him and tell him not to, because it will take your finger dang it off when it runs them over. It'll burn out on your finger and it hurts. So let me show you how they work. I just turned it on the side right there, and immediately it starts to level once. But if you turn it on when it's laying down like this, it'll stay like that. Okay, so now it's on, and then you just boop, and see it leveled out, and it knows it's good. So whenever you literally lean forward a little bit, so say I'm leaning forward, I push on that side a little bit, that thing just takes off like a rocket. And then watch this. You know what I mean? So it literally, the slightest little, whoa, watch this thing. God, it's so strong. See if I can get you a close-up of the wheel on here. Whoa! Whoa, it'll burn out. And it's going to mess up my floor. But the motor is extremely powerful. It's a very impressive setup that they've done here. Completely genius. This, I believe, once this gets bigger, more people find out about this will most likely completely replace hoverboards as far as, what people would prefer to have. I know I get on a hoverboard now and I feel trapped. Like you feel like you have no control, and they're quite frustrating. But I will say, whenever you get these brand new, inside the box it comes with a little stick that if you take this plate off here, and then if you can imagine the shape of that plate, it literally it's got 2 of those plates on it, and then there's a rod in the middle. So it just basically makes it like a hoverboard. So let me focus here. So it screws in here on this one, the shape of that plate. You just take that plate off, and the rod screws right onto there. And then you take this plate off, and the rod screws right onto there, and it makes them where they're held together with a rod in the middle. And so while you're learning them, you can put that on there and until you get good with them, and then you can take it off. I never put them on personally. I never even tried it except once. because I was having trouble getting a hoverboard for my son, which I will show you. And the problem is the hoverboard, he's not really heavy enough. He's only 3, going on 4, maybe 4 now. But he's not really heavy enough, so the hoverboard will kind of bounce if he's not got his foot on there right or whatever, and he's trying to maneuver it. Sometimes it'll get real bouncy. Like the motor can't decide if it wants to go or not. Here it is right here. And so, yep, it'll kind of do this. Well, it's hard to explain. But it'll do this bouncy thing. Man, I feel so... On a hoverboard, it makes me feel so trapped. Like I can't... Like, because I'm so used to being able to go one foot in front of the other. It's really... What is that? It's really quite frustrating, honestly. Oh, there's a piece of tape or something on this thing. Oh, it's that. That's aggravating. Get that off of there. You hush. But it's really quite frustrating now riding a hoverboard after having the skates. The skates are just all around 100% better in every way, shape, or form. The maneuverability of them is insane. What you can do with them is way better because, like, door thresholds, for instance. When I go to Walmart, you would think, man, how would you get over the threshold of the door? And you saw how easy it was to get on them just then. So that's how you get off. You just step off, come back here. Okay, you stay right there. And then literally to get back on, 1 foot, 2 foot, bam, bam. And see, so you can see I can go completely whichever way I want with each individual skate. I can go 1 foot in front of the other, and I can go whee and get through tight spaces. If you can't see that, whoop. So I can go pretty much when my wife's got all this stuff on the floor, I can go right on in there, and normally you can't do that with a hoverboard. Yes, you can with skates. The skates are way better in every way, shape, or form. So the maneuverability of them, it's just complete freedom. You can't get that with a hoverboard. So not really trying to bash hoverboards, because if it wasn't for hoverboards, obviously we probably wouldn't have the skates. But as far as these go, they're better. And if you're thinking about getting a pair of these or possibly a hoverboard, I would strongly suggest that you get these rather than a hoverboard. And also, the reason why I was telling you about my son's hoverboard is because if I was smart and not stupid, I looked everywhere for that hoverboard, because it's just like my daughter's, which is this pink one right here, which my son is able to ride great, but it's still, that one for some reason is way better than this one. First of all, the battery's bigger, and second of all, the way that this thing is controlled, that one has something inside it that is kind of like, it deals with whenever you lean, it leans one way, and then that's what controls it. Whereas I think this one, it deals with the pressure of these buttons on the top. So there's buttons on here, and whenever you lean one way, you put more pressure on the button on that side, and then pressure on the button on this way. Whereas that one, I think, has some kind of gyroscope or something in there that literally, whenever you lean it, it kind of does this teeter-totter thing, and it controls it way better, and it prevents it from getting that little, it'll jump sometimes and get real bouncy, and I think that's because it's controlled by pressure buttons on the top here, which is bad. That one is way better. I couldn't find another one like that, so we did end up getting this one, but it works, but it still does that stupid bouncing, but it's not as bad as the other ones that we got. So if I was smart, I would have just bought him, because the first one we bought him was $200, whereas this one was a little cheaper, but we already spent the $200. These skates, they cost $200. Seems like a lot, but what you get with them is awesome, because even my son, when I put the bar in the middle of them, he rode those better than any hoverboard that we've ever seen him ride. And he's only 3. And all I did was just take off them 4 screws and screw on that little rod in the middle. And my son rode it great. It's really sensitive to the weight. It does not do anything with pressure buttons on the top of these. There's no buttons on the top of these at all. So literally, there's no safety control of whether or not, if you lean on one side or touch one side of them, it's gonna go. You don't have to step on it and make it where it registers your weight, and then it'll start going. It literally, once you're off of it, it doesn't matter. If you press on this side, it goes that way. You press on this side, it goes that way. I mean, they go. Which could be a little dangerous, but as for my son, they're so sensitive and they work so well. My son could ride it really well, and there was no bounciness or no, the motor never jumped or nothing. It was just a really smooth control, and he was able to ride it really well. So if you're thinking about getting a hoverboard or something for your kids, maybe consider getting these as well, because then as they get older and more advanced in riding, then they can take the bar off and bam, now they have skates. So it's basically like a 2-in-1 package. It's the real deal. I mean, it's everything. So you can start them off with the bar, and your kids will have a really nice hoverboard. It'll be different than everybody else's, but it'll do everything that a hoverboard will, and then more. When you take it off, it'll do more. Door thresholds at stores are different than door thresholds at the house. So there is one unfortunate thing. You see, I can't go over the door threshold at my house because they're so high. It won't work. But at Walmart, they're so worried about trip hazards of people tripping, walking in the store, yada yada. So their thresholds are not near as intent. They're not near as high as the one at your house. So I can literally cruise right in Walmart on my skates, starting in the parking lot. And of course, all the sidewalks have handicap ramps because by code they have to. So there's always somewhere that you can get up on the sidewalk and you can get in the store. And I wish I had a threshold here to show you, but I don't. But I do have this really thick rug. And what you do is you literally go 1 foot in first, and so put all your weight on the other foot, and so it'll bounce right over the bounce, no problem. And then you go over the next one. And this way you don't have to go, and you're not going to be going full speed, and then bam, you hit the bump, and it's too much, and then you fly off. You just kind of, slow down a little bit and just go 1 foot at a time. And you can go over a lot more, obstructions than you could with a hoverboard. Like a hoverboard, you kind of have to turn one way and then turn the other way, and it's extremely complicated and aggravating. Whereas my skate, I can literally, it's just so much better. I mean, if you decide to get a set, and you try it, leave a comment on here and just tell me what you feel, because I've never had a toy at my age. I mean, I'm 31, so I'm not really old, but for adults, if you're considering getting a pair, don't think that this is only for kids, because this is.
Let's have a race!
Let's race! Don't go too fast, Aiden. You're going too fast. Those are buzzards, I think.
Because what?
Oh, stop. Okay, come on.
Come on, Anna, let's go. That one?
Come on, guys.
Are you going to post this on Facebook?
Maybe.
We're turning around?
Yeah. Come on.
Daddy, there's a bike person coming.
I see him.
I need to
Come on. Say bye.